Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers and sojourners of truth, the 144, and the chosen of the chosen few. You know who you are. Peace, love, and light. I greet you all with the light from my heart to yours, giving you all this love, light, beauty, truth, goodness, and all there is out there for us to share. I am Aquila texturing in the divine energy essence of it all. Can you feel the essence moving through the wind? And as usual, I'm reporting to you live from the 5D consciousness, bringing to you the news to infuse if you so choose to, like I do, infusing with that light, right? Speaking of light, we got to get this light grid activation up and running. I mean, it's up, but when I say get it up and running, I'm talking about us aligning with the light grid, activating the light grid, doing our light grid activation by doing our soul work, our soul ascension, our DNA activation, all these different phrases that is tuning us up, raising to the higher frequencies and higher vibrations, especially in these times as we are in this ecliptic window during this ecliptic season where the nodes are between the north and south nodes are on the Aries and Libra axis. There's a lot going on right now, as we always see and know, but we know that and those of us who know that the energies are speeding up, the frequencies are accelerating, so things are moving at a faster pace. We must be about our soul's business, right? It's time for us to be a part of the great undoing and undo the things that need to be undone in our soul, the things that we have all wound up and binded up on that karmic wheel, on that karmic loop, right? That we're here to undo. So I want us to kind of look at what are the things that, this is what has come up for me. Look at the things that have been done that need to be undone while we're in this ecliptic window, while we have some time, right, on this timeline that we're on. And so I want us to kind of engage in these energies. It's very interactive, but it's how you choose to use it, right? Not abuse it, but use it. Manipulating the energies for good. Good manipulation. Like these cosmos are our manipulatives, and we must know how to use them, how to infuse them in the light of our soul. Right? So this time here, I want us to look at what I'm looking at is where spirituality is in a sense becoming religion. I'm speaking to this woke conscious community, this new age knowing. A lot of us are coming into the knowing, and that's a great thing, but as I always say, it's not enough to just know. There are some things that we must do to be about this work, right? Least it fall into the wrong places. A lot of us have chosen to be here at this time to really advance our souls to the next degree, to the next level, but we have set, like there's infinite time, but we must understand that we've chosen to do some things within a certain timeline of our lifetime that our spirit has chosen. So what has not been done, when a certain clock strikes, that's the best way I could explain it energetically, when a certain clock strikes and we have not done what we needed to do, then we do not get to leap bounds and leap across that timeline. And some of us have chosen to exit or loop out. It's a loop out during these purges. If the clock strikes and we haven't been there, that's why we have these little purges happening. And it's not for punishment, it's just a part of the cycle. It's a part of the flush cycle. When something happens, there's a flush, and depending on where we are, some of us have chosen that if we're not where we said we are to be on our timeline according to our time design, right, in our lifetime, then some of us may loop out. So there are things that we must pay attention to and go really into our soul. And this is the time to do that. Oh, hear my bird? That's right, birdie. Right on the rooftop. Up on the roof. That's where we got to go, to the upper room, right? So with that, why I'm speaking on this now is as before I forget, happy, happy, rising Christ consciousness, whatever this is for you in that moment. For some people, it's Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, but y'all know I don't do holidays or holy days. I do days of significance. And instead of being caught in their rapture of things, um, it's better that we find a way and utilize these as opportunities to go into your soul and see what there is to be done. So instead of looking at this man on the outside who they have given us a story about to say, and who they have killed and murdered and said, this is now the resurrection. It is for us to see the resurrection of our soul and go within. No, take it as a story for our soul, right? Because we have to understand that they just want to, I mean, we don't have to. As I always tell people, you don't have to do a darn thing. But I invite us to pay attention to why they've given us this story. Why do you want us to pay attention to a resurrection of a man that you have murdered? You want us to focus on the death so that they can be distracted continually, believing that this person has died for their sin. Therefore, alleviating you of any work that you may have to do because you feel it's already done for you. So gives you bare minimum work to do, and you don't even look inside your soul. This is antichrist behavior. This is the antichrist behavior. The fact that you are being pulled into looking at the death over and over again as a reminder that this was already done for you, so you don't have to do the work. And this is why some people are at a stagnated pace in their soul. There's stagnation, right, which blocks the elevation and the evolution of your soul because you're not going in and doing the work. So I invite us in this Christ rising for it to be a part of the respiriting. Again, if you've never heard of the respiriting, I invite you to look at the video that I did on respiriting. And this is like a culmination of that. This day when we get here is a culmination of the respiriting that we were to be doing from the winter solstice and all the way through the winter season, practicing, because practice makes perfect, being true practitioners in life, true practitioners of your soul's work, and constantly flushing out that ego. That's what the respiriting is for, a death to the ego, a death to that part of you, a death to that misappropriated ego, which is the ego usually represents the sun, the soul, the soul part of your existence, right? So it's for that part to die so that it can rise in the wise ego. So it's for the misappropriated ego to die to rise in the wise ego, aka the conscious, the superconscious mind, aka the Christ mind, that brings us into the Christ consciousness, the light of the world, right? But we must first have that death to rebirth. And that is the part of us that we have to work on. And so if those sit back and only look at the death and the resurrection of this man that is outside of them, that was given to them in a way that is not true, the story that they want to give, if they are to focus on that, then it hinders you from doing the work. No shade on anybody's beliefs, religions. If that's where you are, that's fine. But I'm speaking to those who are evolving, those who are stepping into the 5D consciousness, those who are moving into the higher parts of themselves, right? Into the age of the Aquarian, all of these that we are aspiring to, into spirituality. Because if not, the dangers of that, let me speak on that, the dangers of not respiriting, not giving a death to that misappropriated ego and allowing your wise ego to be reborn so you can elevate upward and onward. The confusion in that, the problem with that is that what happens is we're going to double down into the religious holds, because the religion is a capacity. There's a cap on religion. It's not unlimited. It's not free flowing. It does not allow you to be a sovereign being in your relationship with the divine. It indoctrinates, it hinders, and it blocks. It gets people stuck in a worshiping state where when they're stuck in worshiping, they have the worshiping gene, and then they're stuck there and they don't allow themselves to see the truth because they're only worshiping, right? So it's for us to go deeper than that and beyond that. Once you get involved with worshiping, it tends to be a hindrance, right? I'm not saying we should never do it, but it usually tends with human beings to be a hindrance because they get stuck on the worshiping. So what happens is, if you don't remove the blocks that we need to remove within our souls, we build a bridge, an alternate route into spirituality. So we don't actually enter into spirituality. Those who are leaving their religious states and entering into spirituality, the dangers of you not actually doing the work and flushing out your soul and respiriting and getting rid of that ego, doing a death to rebirth and having a true resurrection of your soul in the light of truth, according to the divinity of the Trinity, the Trinity of divinity within your soul. If that is not being done, then all that's happening is you're jumping out of one hot pot into another hot pot. You're jumping out of the restraints of the religion. You're changing those practices, but you're carrying with you the indoctrinations that you did not get rid of. So you build an alternate route on the way to spirituality, never quite making it to spirituality. Sounds familiar? Sounds like that story that when Moses did not make it into the promised land. That spirituality is the promised land for you at a conscious level. And a lot of you don't quite get there because you have not let go of some of your stubborn ways, the way you hold on to the way things must be done, right? The way you have hangups about certain things. And if that doesn't let go, then you're going to strike the rock and you won't be able to see that promised land. But what happens is you're going to take with you the land that you had with you, that religious part that you thought you were running away from, and all you did was change how you do things, but you did not extract what needed to be extracted and undo and come out of that karmic loop. So you took that karmic loop with you and you didn't get rid of it. And now what you have is, you have, instead of spirituality, you do not make it to the promised land, but you created imagination, illusion. You've created your own land, which happens to be a religious spirituality, or spirituality in the case of religion. So it is where you are still involved in a religion. You think you may be in spirituality land, but you're not. What you did was you carried religion with you and you perverted the ways of spirituality to befit the needs and where you are, to befit the level that you are, because you have not undone. And you are only as strong as your weakest link. We are only as strong as our weakest link. So if we don't take the time to undo what needs to be undone, and that means going in that soul, as I've been saying, follow that rainbow, opening the 7 seals inside of your soul. These are the doorways to your consciousness on so many levels. So if we don't do that work and get in there and find the things that we need to find within ourselves, because we're not getting anywhere thinking everything is okay. So when we look in that mirror, we better look and know that something needs to change. If you were doing something one way for a whole, however, lifetime, and you are now arising upon, you're on a new horizon, right? You are coming upon the shores of something new, the new age, the true age, because nothing is new under the sun. You are finally expanding your consciousness into the next dimension of your soul. However, you must let some things go. We must let some things go. So there's work to be done. And so these pit stops, these checkpoints, these energetic centers like the cosmos that are engaging us, like this lunar eclipse that is coming up, is giving us the opportunity to remove the karma, to remove the soot off of our soul, lighten the load on your soul so that you can enmesh with the light grid, because the light grid activation is there. And those of us who are working on the light grid, by working on our soul's ascension, we are activating it in a way where we're expanding, continuing to expand the bandwidth so that it reaches others who are in remote places, not by location, remote places where they are far in their mind and they somehow can't reach it. right? But those chosen ones, we're really being sifted out. I've said this before. This is why you hear me say the chosen of the chosen of the chosen few, because not everybody that's chosen is going to be passing through, right? There are chosen ones who are choosing to be stubborn at a certain point, because this work takes self-discipline. It takes the willingness. We must be willing and ready light bodies, not just able, but willing and ready to do what must needs be done against your own will, not thine own will, but by the will of the divine, which has no explanation that you may understand. So please do not look for an explanation. Do not look for details. Know that you have to move in faith, and you have to trust that this is something new. This is something true to step into. And it's going to take some undoing. So become a part of the great undoing. The awakening has been happening. And yes, some are still waking up now. Some are still just wiping their eyes and opening their eyes. But for those of you who know that your eyes have been opened, some of us have been working on this for the past 4 years straight, some of us longer. It is time to stop playing around with the energies. When you know what you know, to whom much is given, much is responsible. You are responsible for all that you are given. And I'm talking about that wealth of knowledge in your soul. Don't think you're just going to gain this knowledge and wear it like a trophy and stack it on a shelf as an accolade because you are awakening and you are, oh, I'm one of the chosen ones. It's not an accolade to be worn like that, right? It's work to do. You got to go hard in the paint, right? And it's hard out here in these spiritual streets. Those of whom know, right? But when you go through the work, you ease through it, and it's not as difficult as we think it is. Like I always say, it's only difficult to those who choose to not do the simple things, the self-discipline and the things that need to be done. If we don't do it, it's only difficult to those, right? Other than that, I'm not saying it's easy breezy ice skating down the street, rollerblading down the street, but it definitely doesn't have to be something that is really difficult, right? It's as hard as you make it. As they say, life is what you make it. So we must make the choices that align us with the right parts of our divine design in this mix right here. So know that the resurrection is for you. It's the resurrection of your soul, because something needed to die. Something needed to fall away, and then you can resurrect in 3 days. The 3 days is not about days, it is about steps. There are 3 steps to take as a part of the resurrection. There is a threefold here to be had, right? And so understand the threefold of your soul so you can know what it is that you are rising to the occasion to. And let this be a grand rising, a divine rising for you on these days. Let no one bring you into the distractions of looking at someone's death who did it for you. Those of you who are awakening, right? Leave those who believe it right where they are. Don't try to disturb them. Don't wake no sleeping giants. Let them sleep. Let them sleep. But for those who know, those who are awakening, you must know that it is time to turn over this new true leaf of time. And happy New Year's to those who were celebrating the New Year for April 1st. I understand it. That's not my New Year. Mine's is on the spring equinox, but this is still spring, and as long as we not doing it in January, I'm with you. I see you. You get it when you get it. As long as we're on the same page of New Year is spring, is when we bring it here, I'm all for it. So with that said, let's get in there and let's raise our vibrations, raise our frequencies, so that we are in the resurrection of our soul. So we find that gold that is deep within, and so that we align with this new true aspect of ourselves. The timelines are shifting. Let's shift. Let's move. Let's quantum leap. But how we do it is determined by how we choose to infuse with that light. So get on that light grid activation and unfold your soul, you infinite beings and infinite bodies of light. And with that, that I share with you. I say unto you, I love you all. You're all positive vibrations in my heart. I'm loving this rose right here. A rose right over me. I got a rose halo. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start, start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out and be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Peace, love, and light.